Well, hello friends. Welcome back to the channel, Solid Gold Scripture Journals. Today I have a little bonus video for you. This was March Madness week at seminary, where I took 32 scriptures, made a game board, and the students were able to choose the winner between all these scriptures. And the criteria was which scripture will help you the most in your life. And spoiler, let's go right to the winner here. Let's see. Can you see that? 2 Nephi 32, 8-9. Ye must pray always. So if you want to know how I set up the board and some of the upsets between this year and last year on our March Madness board, then stick around. Before I show you our March Madness Doctrinal Mastery game, I just want to do a little bit of an explanation. The reason why I do this is, number one, fun. It's a fun thing to do in the middle of March. We just had daylight saving time. Everyone's tired. It's different. It's easy preparation, frankly, for the teacher. And I think they get a lot out of it. They get to go over those scriptures again and again and again, and they really remember the ones as it comes down to the finals. They remember those ones in particular. And I was at symposium earlier this year, and a teacher was talking about her student, and he had said, it seems like in seminary, I'm just starting to get the hang of something, and we move on to the next thing. And that just kind of pierced my heart. And I thought, I'm a teacher who has taught grade 11 and 12 for years. And now I'm teaching grade 9. And I think I'm moving on too quickly. So I want to take a week to just reinforce all the things that we're talking about and learning. And this was a great way to do that. I have set up this high-tech March Madness tournament that we use for our class. And it's supposed to be like how the universities and colleges in the United States have their basketball tournaments in March, and they all play against each other, and they end up with the greatest basketball team right in the middle here. But I have the greatest doctrinal mastery scripture for our class for this year. So what I did is on this side here, I have listed all of the doctrinal mastery scriptures for this half of the year. And then those are from the Book of Mormon. And then I added 2 bonus Book of Mormon scriptures. Alma 7:11, because 7:11 is a great store in Alma 34. And then I have a New Testament scripture and a Doctrine and Covenants scripture. Just some big hits down there at the bottom. On this side, I have all of the New Testament doctrinal mastery scriptures, which we already studied earlier this year, this school year. And then I added an Old Testament, a Pearl of Great Price, and an Article of Faith scripture. On the first day, we did this side here. I had them pair up, and each pair did one of the scriptures. They had time to prepare. They would read the scripture to the class, and then they would present the scripture to the class. And they were trying to explain why this particular scripture was the most important for us in our lives today. And so here we had 1 Nephi 3:7, 2 Nephi 2:25, and the winner of the two was by vote, by closing your eyes vote, 1 Nephi 3:7 was the winner. And so we went through and we did all of those. Early upset. Down at the bottom here, Matthew 11 and Doctrine and Covenants 18, those were the finalists last year in my March Madness. But this year, the winner, Doctrine and Covenants 18, was knocked out in the first round. So that's kind of always interesting and exciting. So this took more than a whole entire day. So they were prepared. So the next day we finished that, and then we went on to this side. And we finished these in the first 2 days. Almost. Went kind of fast, and they were in groups of 2 or 3 doing their presentations. It was fun. Okay. So that was Monday over here, Tuesday over here. Wednesday, we're down to the orange section. Wednesday, I had them work individually. They had to read the scripture to themselves and try and come up with a reason why it was so important to them. This was a speed round. I had them take one sentence of scripture, the most important part, and one sentence to explain it to the class. So we did that, then blind vote, and they voted, and then they moved on to the pink round here and here for the next day. What we did there was I had them go back into their groups of 2 or 3, read the scripture, and then apply it to their lives. And if they couldn't apply it to their lives, they could definitely use a scripture story, maybe a family story they had heard, something from general conference, something a teacher had told them. And that was interesting, just trying to make them apply these things, to apply it and to be specific. And I thought that was important because it's kind of like they're bearing their testimonies of that scripture, but rather than just getting up in a testimony meeting. For example, up here at 1 Nephi 3:7, I had a student tell about how she had a not very good friend group for her, and she wanted a new friend group that was kinder, and it was hard for her to find a new friend group, but then she knew she could pray and God would help her, and he did. We had in James 1:5-6, I had a student talk about how she wanted to know if the Book of Mormon was true or not. So at FSY, she prayed to know if it was true. And then when she went and did her scripture study for that day, she had a very strong confirmation that the things she was reading were true. So some beautiful experiences that the students were able to share with us. So that was a good Thursday lesson. Now, Friday, we took these yellow ones here. So we're at the semifinals. We've got these yellow ones here and these yellow ones here. So we've got those 4. I divided the room up into 4 groups, and this was like a missionary discussion. So some of the students would pretend to be missionaries, some would pretend to be investigators, and they would read the scripture and act it out. And the investigators asked questions. And I have to say, the investigators asked really good questions. And I think they even went off script. You know, they had a chance to prepare before. And by the time they put them together, it was a little bit of a shock. But isn't that life when we're sharing the gospel? We don't always know what people are going to ask. So that was really successful, I thought. And then finally, for the finals, so we've got this green one here and this green one here. It's 2 Nephi 32:8-9 versus James 1:5-6. I had them write in their journals. So they needed to just personally, quietly decide which scripture meant the most to them and would help them the most in their lives. They wrote it down, and then I asked them to apply this scripture to their lives in the future. So way back on the pink ones, they applied it to their lives, how they'd seen it work in the past. But now for the green, I wanted them to apply it to their future and how it would help them. So they took 5 minutes and wrote in their journals, and then we did our blind vote, and by a margin of 2 votes, 2 Nephi 32:8-9 was the winner, which I loved because my class loves James 1:5-6. We have a little song we sing about it, and it's a big hit. So I was really thrilled that they saw there was so much meat in 2 Nephi 32:8-9. And I had one student say that whenever he doesn't feel like praying because he's too tired or whatever, he just remembers this scripture, and he knows that it's the evil spirit who wants him not to pray, so he decides to pray. I really appreciated it. We really felt the spirit. It was a great discussion. It was a great week. I have spent the whole year preparing for this day, learning these doctrinal mastery scriptures, learning how to ask questions, learning how to wait and let the kids come up with the things that they want to say, and just letting them discuss. All right, so that's it. We had a great week in seminary. I feel like the Spirit really taught us a lot. We were able to review things again and again, but in a different way each time. And I felt like we just applied those scriptures to so many different ways in our lives. It was a good experience and it didn't get boring. Another important thing I got out of this March Madness was I get to see what is important to my class. For example, last year, my class loved the idea that we are valuable to God, and it really helped them individually. This year, my class is finding that prayer is really important to them. So that can help me get to know them better and help as I teach them. So it's an idea, a springboard, if you will. I hope you have a great week. I hope as you prepare your lessons for seminary or for whatever they might be, and as you go out and try to help the people you serve, that you'll find the answers you need as you study the scriptures. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.